Welcome back to That Philly Sports Girl. I'm your host, Elise Person, and I have all your most recent, updated Philadelphia sports news for you today. Let's get right into it with the 76ers, who are trailing the Atlanta Hawks 1-0 in a 7-game series after a 128-124 loss Sunday afternoon. On Sunday afternoon, the Sixers just came out flat to start the game. The Sixers, who are notably a strong defensive team, allowed Trae Young and the Hawks to run circles around them offensively in the first half. At the end of the first quarter, the Sixers trailed 42-27, and at the end of the half, the Sixers trailed 74-54. Danny Green started out defending Hawks guard Trae Young, and that did not bode well for the Sixers. At the end of the first half, Young recorded 25 points and 7 assists. The Hawks also capitalized off the Sixers' first quarter turnovers. The Sixers recorded 12 turnovers in the first 14 minutes of the game, and they finished with 19 turnovers altogether. The Sixers definitely, though, did turn it on coming into the second half, but they put themselves in such a deep rut in the first half that no second half effort was enough to pull out a W. The Sixers outscored the Hawks 29-25 in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter outscored them 41-29. But like I said, they dug themselves way too deep in the first half, and they were unable to finish the night with a win, regardless of the second half effort. Coach Doc Rivers said, quote, "I thought they hit us in the mouth to start the game. I thought they were the more physical team, they were the more aggressive team. They played harder earlier, and they took care of the ball early. We did not. You can't have 9 turnovers in the first quarter and expect us to be up," end quote. Another element everyone was closely watching Sunday afternoon was the availability of Joel Embiid. Last Wednesday, Sixers announced that Joel Embiid had suffered a partially torn meniscus. Embiid was a game decision Sunday afternoon, but he ended up starting and played throughout the game and finished the day with 39 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. It did not appear that Embiid was too hindered by this knee injury. However, he is not completely in the clear as he is listed as questionable for Game 2, which is tonight at 7:30. In other Sixers news, President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey has been fined $75,000 for violating the NBA's anti-tampering rule after he sent out a tweet last week about Steph Curry. In the tweet, it appeared that Morey was encouraging Steph Curry to join his younger brother Seth Curry on the Sixers. Morey defended his tweet after posting it, saying this tweet had no motives or transactional interest behind it. However, last night, the NBA did announce that they would be fining Morey and the Philadelphia 76ers $75,000. In my opinion, he was just messing around and having a little fun after the Sixers had defeated the Washington Wizards. I thought clearly he was not trying to get Steph Curry to join the Sixers, and to me it doesn't even make sense because he can't join the Sixers. We're in the postseason. That's not even it's impossible. I just think it was all maybe taken a little bit too seriously, but I don't call the shots, and Morey will owe the NBA $75,000. Tonight, the Sixers look to defeat the Hawks and tie this series up 1-1. Tip-off will be at 7:30, and you will not want to miss it. Moving right along to the Philadelphia Phillies, who continue to experience up and downs and inconsistency throughout the season. However, the Phillies are coming off a series win over the Washington Nationals. The last game of the 3-game series being a 12-6 win for the Phillies, but it was a very interesting and very long game. The day started out with a delay in the first inning after home plate umpire Brian Onora was hit in the mask by a foul ball. He did not return to the game, and the game was finished with only 3 umps. Then, in the third inning, there was another delay when Nationals pitcher Austin Voth's nose was broken by a 90-mile-per-hour fastball thrown by Vince Velasquez. Velasquez was pretty shaken up after this, and even after the game, he said, "When you see something on TV, guys getting hit in the head, it's very scary. And for you to do it in a way where you visually see it firsthand, it can be traumatizing," end quote. He went on to say he knew he had a job he had to finish after that incident. However, it was definitely a moment that shook him up. After the game, Nationals manager Dave Martinez acknowledged that he didn't believe Valadquez threw the ball intentionally. However, he proceeded to mention that he wants the league to take a closer look at preventing pitchers from using foreign substances to maintain grips on the ball. He said, quote, "I hate to bring it up, but you will see more of that if we keep messing around with the stuff about the balls. It's hot, it's slippery, guys are sweaty," end quote. Essentially, he just kind of wants the league to hone in on what pitchers are using to have the grip on the ball, because he thinks that could have potentially played a role or been a factor in his pitcher being hit in the face and his nose being broken. 5 innings after that delay due to Valadquez hitting Voth in the face, there was yet another delay when the protective netting behind home plate and along the baseline fell down in the 8th inning. The Phillies ground crew jumped right on to fixing the net, and the game was back on after just 20 minutes. It was definitely a crazy game with delays, injuries, nets falling down, but the important thing is the Phillies finished the day with a win, a 12-6 win. We had some offense generating, so let's just take that and run with it. We won the series. The Phillies now have an overall record of 28-30, and we look to take on the Braves tonight, who are also having an up and down kind of inconsistent season, so hopefully we can capitalize on that in this series ahead of us. In other news, 2 Phillies long receivers were placed on the COVID-related injury list on Sunday. The Phillies will be without Chase Anderson and David Howell while they follow through COVID protocols. As I had just mentioned, the Phillies do now look to continue on their little win streak over the Braves, which a game will be played tonight at 7:05. Now, moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles, this past Friday, Nick Sirianni and the Eagles wrapped up their last OTA and are headed home on summer vacation for the next 7 weeks. Before sending his team home, Sirianni made a point to emphasize 3 key points he wanted his players to focus on over the next few weeks. He told his team, quote, "Continue to practice good habits, stay out of trouble, and then be ready to come into camp in the best physical shape of your life. Because when you're in the best physical shape of your life, now your football IQ and the fundamentals can really show," end quote. I love this mentality. I think it's been made clear to the team what is expected of them, and there can be really no excuses while the team comes back to training camp, because Sirianni wrote it out pretty clearly what he expects of each and every individual. So I'm just really looking forward to seeing the Eagles come back to training camp, and I'm just even more excited to see more of Nick Sirianni's coaching philosophies as we get closer and closer to the season. Yesterday afternoon, the Eagles announced they have officially signed 6th-round draft pick linebacker Jacoby Stevens from LSU. This leaves all but one of the Eagles' 2021 draft class signed. The only draft pick yet to be signed is 2nd-round pick Landon Dickerson, a center from the University of Alabama. So this is definitely going to be something we keep an eye on and continue to watch closely on how that progresses with Dickerson and the Eagles choosing to or choosing to not sign him. Now, finally, moving on to the Flyers, who really don't have any real recent updates, so we can just update and remind you, if you even want to be reminded. The Flyers ended their season on May 10th with a win over the New Jersey Devils. The Flyers did not make playoffs this season after finishing the year with a 25-23-8 record. So right now they're just kind of waiting for playoffs to finish through, and then as hockey ends, I'm sure we're going to start to see more Flyers updates, and I will be keeping you updated on those updates here at That Philly Sports Girl. But until then, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm That Philly Sports Girl, and we'll see you soon.